At Banfi, we are proud and confident when we say that we are a family of brands with sustainability front and center. And that's a powerful statement, not only because of the commitments made by each of our winery and distillery partners, but because of how we choose to operate as a business in today's climate. Pun intended. For us, it's not a choice, and it's not a coincidence that sustainability is core to all of our brands. It's a responsibility. We believe it's the only way forward if we want to preserve what we have, and more importantly, leave it in better shape than the way we found it for future generations. Now, sustainability often takes center stage during the moments like Earth Month or Wellness Month, but the reality is that it's become increasingly part of the everyday conversation, especially with today's more mindful, more curious consumer. At the same time, it's not always a simple topic. Sustainability can feel vague, even confusing, whether that's due to greenwashing or the wide range of standards and regulations that vary from one country to the next. And that's exactly where the strength of our portfolio comes in. Transparency and authenticity are at the core of each of our brands. Every producer approaches sustainability in their own way, and that's something to celebrate. Those differences add depth, perspective, and credibility to the broader conversation. So let's explore what sustainability really looks like across our portfolio, where those approaches align, where they differ, and more importantly, how to speak to them with clarity and confidence. A great place to start is with Castello Banfi, where sustainability has been a guiding principle from day one. Every decision from vineyard management to bottling reflects a long-term commitment to our land, our region, and to future generations. That commitment is backed by real, measurable action. Thanks to years of pioneering research, Castello Banfi holds the 3E Equalitas certification, one of Italy's most rigorous sustainability accreditations. What makes this certification so meaningful is its holistic approach, evaluating environmental, social, and economic responsibility together. And those standards are incredibly strict, made even more impressive when you consider the scale and diversity of our 7,200-acre estate. In practice, that means a thoughtful approach to land use, planting only 1/3 of the estate to vine, allowing the remaining land to support biodiversity through wildlife preserves, beehives, and other agriculture. It means building water reservoirs across the property to reduce reliance on local rivers, and implementing biobed systems that naturally filter and recycle water before it's returned to the environment. It also extends to materials and waste, prioritizing recycled inputs and ensuring that all waste is managed to the highest possible standards. But above all, sustainability here starts with people. In fact, Castello Banfi became the first vineyard estate in the world to achieve SA 8000 certification for ethical and social accountability, reinforcing a deep commitment not just to the land, but to everyone who works and lives on it. It's a powerful example of how sustainability, when approached holistically, can shape every aspect of a winery and ultimately elevate the quality and integrity of what's in the bottle. As we continue to explore sustainability across our portfolio, it's important to introduce two frameworks that take this conversation even further: Regenerative Organic Certification and B-Corp certification. Regenerative Organic Certification, or ROC, was founded here in the United States. It builds on the USDA organic standard as a baseline, but goes significantly further, adding clear benchmarks across three critical pillars: soil health, animal welfare, and social fairness. At its core, regenerative agriculture is about more than maintaining the land. It's about restoring it, strengthening soil health, supporting biodiversity, and enhancing the entire farm ecosystem for the long term. B-Corp certification takes a different but equally powerful approach. Rather than focusing solely on agriculture, B-Corp is a holistic framework for business accountability across any industry. Companies are measured through rigorous impact assessments, which are reviewed annually, and they commit legally to operating in a way that balances business with responsibility. Together, these certifications represent a more comprehensive vision of sustainability, one that extends from the vineyard all the way through to how a company operates as a whole. And we see both of these philosophies come to life beautifully in our portfolio. If we look to Emiliana and our Heritage Natura brand, what began as an experimental organic vineyard in 1998 has evolved into the largest and most respected organic and biodynamic wine producer in the world. Today, Emiliana holds a wide range of certifications, from fair trade to carbon neutral, but notably, it became the first company in all of Chile in any industry to achieve regenerative organic certification. These principles have been part of Emiliana's DNA from the very beginning. And as a result, the Natura range is also a proud member of the 1% for the Planet Network, donating 1% of sales to the Rodell Institute, a global leader in research and education in regenerative agriculture. More recently, Emiliana has also received B-Corp certification, further reinforcing its leadership in building a more equitable and regenerative economic model. We see a similarly values-driven approach with Boatyard. As Ireland's first B-Corp certified distillery and producer that is 100% organic, Boatyard demonstrates how these principles extend beyond wine into the broader spirits category. But what's especially compelling here is how intentional those practices are. This isn't about certifications for the sake of labels. It's about a genuine commitment to stewardship of this beautiful place. From donating leftover fruit from distillation to local bars, to upcycling botanicals into products like chocolate bars, every decision reflects a mindset of reducing waste, supporting community, and giving back to the environment that makes it all possible. It's a powerful reminder that sustainability isn't one size fits all, but when done right, it becomes deeply embedded in both philosophy and practice. As we continue across the portfolio, you'll start to see some of these same principles show up again, just expressed in a different, equally compelling way. At Pacific Rim, the focus is clear: energy and water efficiency. In fact, we like to say we're powered by the wind, because 100% of our electrical usage is offset through wind energy. And it's a bold commitment, but one that's matched by equally impressive water stewardship. Pac Rim uses nearly 4 times less water than the industry standard across both vineyard and winery operations. An incredible benchmark in a category where water usage is so critical and in a place where water availability is so scarce. That same intentionality carries through to the winemaking and packaging. Fermentation relies on native yeasts, the wines are gluten-free, and all packaging is sourced within North America, including some of the lightest weight glass available, reducing overall environmental impact from production through to transport. It's a holistic approach where efficiency and responsibility go hand in hand. From there, we move to Alexander Valley Vineyards, where sustainability is deeply rooted in family philosophy. Since first arriving in Sonoma County, the Wetzel family has embraced a simple but powerful mindset: use less and have more. And that belief has driven meaningful, measurable change over time. To maintain Sonoma County Sustainable certification, which must be renewed annually, Alexander Valley Vineyards implements a range of thoughtful practices. Solar energy now provides roughly half of the winery's power, while ongoing restoration efforts support local creeks and wildlife habitats. We also farm selected vineyards organically and utilize extensive barrel aging caves spanning over an acre that naturally maintain cool temperatures, significantly reducing the need for electricity. It's a great example of how long-term thinking and respect for place can shape every aspect of production. And finally, we come to Brothers Bond, where the conversation around regenerative agriculture takes center stage once again. Brothers Bond was among the first in the country to release a bourbon made from regenerative organic grains, bringing many of the same principles we discussed earlier into the world of spirits once again. As a member of 1% for the Planet, the brand donates 1% of revenue to Kiss the Ground, supporting the transition of tens of thousands of acres toward regenerative farming practices. But what's especially powerful is the broader mission. Brothers Bond is actively working toward transitioning its entire production process to 100% regenerative practices. And through a strong digital presence, we've been able to educate and engage millions of consumers, turning awareness into advocacy and positioning the brand as a true leader in the space. Together, these producers highlight something important. Sustainability isn't defined by a single approach. Whether it's efficiency, stewardship, regeneration, each brand contributes a unique perspective, adding depth, credibility, and meaning to the story we bring to market. So what does all of this mean when you're out in market? First, it means you don't have to be an expert in every certification or every detail. What matters most is understanding the why behind each brand's approach and being able to connect that to what your customer cares about. Second, keep it simple and relevant. Not every account needs a deep dive into sustainability frameworks. Sometimes it's as easy as highlighting one clear, compelling point, whether that's water conservation, renewable energy, regenerative farming, or a commitment to people and community. Third, lean into the diversity of our portfolio. Sustainability doesn't look the same everywhere, and that's actually our strength. It allows you to tailor the story depending on the customer, the occasion, the conversation. And finally, be authentic. Today's consumer is more informed than ever, and they can spot inauthenticity quickly. The good news is you don't have to stretch or exaggerate. These are real commitments backed by real action. When you speak to them honestly and confidently, that credibility comes through. At the end of the day, sustainability isn't just an added benefit. It's part of the value we bring to every bottle. And when we tell that story well, it doesn't just resonate, it builds trust, loyalty, and long-term relationships. Great wines and spirits start with great land and a commitment to protecting it. That's a story worth telling.